Let us continue the process of analyzing and evaluating the poem line by line. Ships, towers, domes, theatres, and temples lie open unto the fields and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. The poet now tries to identify the elements, the important elements that have gone into the making of this magical scene, and he identifies five elements: ships, towers, domes, theatres, and temples. These are the characteristic trademarks of the city of London at that point of time. They are open unto the fields and also to the sky. You must remember that this is 1802, not 2020. At that time, fields were not very far from the center of the city of London, and the sky was, at least on certain days, clearly visible. You must remember that this is London, where it rains significantly almost every third day, and where the fog affects one's visibility. At the point at which the poet observes the city, he discovers that the landmarks of the city are open unto the fields, which are not very far from the center of the city, and to the sky, which is very visible from the city. Smokeless air. It is early morning, and smoke has not yet started rising from the innumerable chimneys in the city. Maybe after some time, one might see numerous columns of smoke rising from the various parts of the city. But for now, the air is smokeless. And the poet says that the city is bright and glittering. The poet seems to visualize the city as a jewel which is bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did sun more beautifully steep in his first splendor valley, rock, or hill. These are very important lines, because here Wordsworth seems to be taking an openly anti-Wordsworthian stand. The rising sun is covering the city with his splendor. The rising sun does the same thing to other things like valley, rock, or hill. The poet declares that the rising sun has never saturated valley, rock, or hill with as much magnificence as it is now bestowing on the city of London. Steep in the sense of cover, saturate, soak as in a liquid. Wordsworth, the high priest of the religion of nature worship, declares that the magnificence which the rising sun, which the early sun is bestowing on the city of London right now, surpasses the splendor with which it covers valley, rock, or hill. Valley, rock, or hill can stand for the countryside, can stand for nature. The poet's point is that this man made object, this man made city, London, is now receiving greater magnificence, greater grandeur, greater splendor from the rising sun than any object in nature. I repeat my question. Is not Wordsworth betraying his own creed by saying what he is saying in these lines? The next line appears to strengthen the force of the question whether Wordsworth is betraying his own ideology. Never saw I, never felt a calm so deep. Wordsworth, the high priest of the religion of nature worship, who constantly draws sustenance from nature, is here drawing sustenance, emotional sustenance, spiritual sustenance from the man-made city of London. One explanation is that the entire poem is one huge transferred epithet. It was true that Wordsworth was experiencing a profound sense of calm. That was because he was on his way to France, on his way to Calais, to meet his former mistress and come to terms with his relationship with her, and also because he was scheduled to meet his daughter. There was no doubt that the poet was experiencing a deep sense of calm, but the deep sense of calm had nothing to do with the city. He just transferred that emotion to the city. He looked at the city and felt a profound sense of calm in his heart, which in actuality had nothing to do with the city. Thus, it can be argued that the entire poem is one massive transferred epithet. The river glideth at his own sweet will. The river is, of course, the Thames, on whose banks the city of London stands, and across which stands Westminster Bridge. Gliding is moving in a smooth, continuous manner, at his own sweet will, as the river pleases. The point is that there is no traffic on the river. There is no effort from any quarter to expedite the motion of the water, of the river. The water of the river flows slowly, lazily, smoothly, as the river pleases. But why? At his own sweet will. Traditionally, the Thames is looked upon as a male entity. Sometimes the river is referred to as Father Thames. So, here we find the river completely empty of traffic, flowing slowly and lazily as it pleases. I would like to pause for a moment and point out that in the well wrought urn, Cleanth Brooks carries out a thorough analysis of the poem under discussion.